Striking images continue to come from the battlefield. The underground tunnel, which the Russian army has been using as both an ammunition depot and a safe hiding place for months, was completely destroyed by successive drone attacks. However, the most striking moment of the incident happened after the collapse of the tunnel. The footage captured the moments when two Russian soldiers slowly stepped out amidst the smoke rising from the tunnel. The soldiers, who did not raise their hands at first, realized that there was nothing left to do after seeing the destruction and chaos around them. Realizing that they had no choice but to surrender, the soldiers, after a brief hesitation, put their hands on their heads and started moving forward. The footage clearly shows the operator observing the soldiers' movements moment by moment and directing them safely to the surrender points. The patient and controlled demeanor of the Ukrainian forces is striking. The soldiers move towards the designated point with their hands in the air and with slow steps. These moments reveal both the psychological and strategic dimensions of the war. The helplessness and surrender of Russian soldiers after the devastating drone strikes in quick succession clearly reveals Russia's weakness and loss of morale on the ground. Breathtaking moments in the first footage of the day. The Russian military team, carefully advancing in the trenches, is about to complete their mission when a sudden surprise comes from above: an explosive bomb. After the explosion, the footage shows the smoke slowly dissipating, revealing the silhouettes of soldiers lying motionless on the ground. The tension and violence of that moment almost locks the viewers to the screen. The impact of the bomb is so great that all activity in the area stops in an instant. We'd be thrilled if you'd support us a little by liking the video and dropping a comment. Dangerous activity on the border in Sumy region. The Ukrainian military detected a small group of Russians trying to sneak across the border and quickly took action. The footage shows the Russian group trying to carefully move through the dense vegetation on the borderline, but Ukrainian reconnaissance teams noticed the movement. After confirming the group's advance, the Ukrainian military responded quickly and decisively. The area where the Russian group was located came under intense fire with mortar shelling. The smoke and flames rising from the area due to the explosions showed how effective the attack was. The Russian group reportedly tried to take a defensive position in the first moments of the attack, but had to quickly disperse due to the intense mortar fire. Tension is at its peak in hot footage from the battlefield. A Russian military convoy is being tracked step by step by a Ukrainian drone operator. As the convoy carefully moves forward, the Ukrainian operator waits for an opportunity and takes action at the most critical moment. At this critical point, the operator activates the FPV drone loaded with bombs. The footage clearly shows the drone quickly heading towards its target and diving between the vehicles. The drone finds its target and the first vehicle bursts into flames as a result of the explosion. We'd be thrilled if you'd support us a little by liking the video and dropping a comment.
Look here, a HIMARS just targeted a Buk missile system. And by the way, welcome to the video. Ukraine is now striking more of these critical targets using drones. But the real secret is real-time intelligence. Drones keep an eye on the enemy, and then either HIMARS or kamikaze drones are deployed. The Chorny List team executes this tactic perfectly. These visuals are a true display of strategy. Now watch closely. The soldier we've tagged with a rooster on his head is the one to keep an eye on. In just a few moments, he'll be ambushed inside the house he enters by a drone. They're now closely examining what happened to the soldier buried beneath the rubble. Hey, if you're enjoying this, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us keep going. Now, you're about to witness Russian positions being bombed, both from the drone's perspective and a distant observation camera. And it's not just one. They strike 3 Russian positions without showing any mercy. The Russian government seems helpless in the face of this. But the real question is, will they try to resolve this by negotiating with Ukraine, or choose to fight until their very last bullet? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Right here, as the Russians attempt to set up an ambush, They walk straight into one, unaware that the drone has already spotted them. They prepare to strike. But Ukraine's FPV drone pilots take down Putin's soldiers before they even get the chance. But they don't strike the moment they spot the soldiers, no. They wait, letting them move in deeper. And once the perfect time and place presents itself, they rain the bomb down right on top of them. These visuals don't just show us the battlefield, they remind us of how truly chaotic, unpredictable, and brutal war can be. Every second is filled with tension, and in moments like these, there's no room for mistakes. At this point in the video, our drone pilot is pulling off something truly impressive. He's guiding his drone through insanely tight spaces, broken walls, narrow doorways, even shattered windows without breaking a sweat. Every movement is sharp, confident, and totally under control. And when he's in the perfect position, he doesn't hesitate for a second. Final scene. Our drone pilot spots 4 Russian soldiers hiding in a narrow trench. It's pure cat and mouse. They're covered in mud, surrounded by trees. But the drone watches from above like a silent hunter. Then, boom, a direct hit. The shockwave says it all. War is no game. So, to those who think it's just hide and seek, think again. And hey, if you're still watching, drop a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. It helps more than you know.
War is changing, and not just in small ways. We are watching an entire military superpower struggle against an enemy that, on paper, should have been crushed long ago. But here we are. Ukraine, a country many doubted could hold its ground, is now outmaneuvering, outsmarting, and outgunning one of the most feared armies in the world. And how? With technology, intelligence, and sheer determination. Forget tanks. Forget massive artillery barrages. The new battlefield belongs to drones. In this video, we're going to break down exactly why Russia is losing the drone war, how Ukraine is using Starlink, FPV drones, and Western military aid to dismantle Russian forces, and why this war is shaping the future of global conflicts. So grab a seat, because this is going to be intense. Let's get into it. The biggest question is this: how is Ukraine, a country with a much smaller military, able to go toe-to-toe with Russia? The answer isn't just about bravery or strategy, it's about technology. Let's break it down. When Russia invaded Ukraine, they expected a traditional war. Tanks rolling in, airstrikes clearing the way, and troops capturing key cities. But Ukraine didn't fight back traditionally. Instead, they took the war to the digital age. With FPV drones and loitering munitions, Ukrainian forces are wiping out entire Russian units with surgical precision. These aren't just recon drones, they're guided flying bombs, piloted by operators sitting miles away. The drones weave through forests, fly inches above the ground to avoid detection, and then strike when the enemy least expects it. And here's where things get crazy. These drones cost next to nothing compared to what they destroy. An FPV kamikaze drone, a few $1,000s. A Russian T-90 tank, for $1 million. Do you see the problem for Russia? They can't replace losses fast enough. And to make things worse, Ukraine is using Starlink satellite internet to coordinate strikes in real time. Their drones don't just fly blindly, they're backed by an entire network of intelligence and instant communication. This is why Russia is losing entire convoys before they even reach the front lines. The old ways of fighting wars are simply not working anymore. Of course, Russia knows they have a problem, and they've been scrambling for a solution. First, they brought in jamming technology, hoping to disrupt Ukraine's drones mid-flight. But Ukraine adapted, using autonomous drones that don't rely on external signals. Once a drone is locked onto its target, there's no stopping it. Next, they tried to build better air defenses, using anti-aircraft systems to shoot down drones before they get close. But here's the issue. These systems were designed for jets and missiles, not tiny drones flying at treetop level. By the time a Russian soldier sees an incoming FPV drone, it's already too late. And here's where things get really embarrassing. Russia is now resorting to medieval tactics, using welded metal cages on top of their tanks to stop drones from attacking weak spots. But let's be real, when your military strategy involves slapping makeshift armor onto a billion-dollar war machine, you're already losing. This is why Russia's battlefield losses are piling up. Their soldiers are demoralized, their resources are being drained, and their best generals are being picked off one by precision drone strikes. And yet, the war rages on. Which brings us to the biggest question of all: how does this end? Here's the brutal truth: Russia can't afford to keep losing this war. But they also can't afford to back down. Every day, new military aid from the West strengthens Ukraine's defenses. ATACMS missiles, Abrams tanks, Patriot air defense systems, the list keeps growing. Meanwhile, Russia is bleeding money, troops, and global influence.
In the first video of the day, striking footage from Pokrovsky, one of the hottest spots of the war, reveals the tension on the front line and the superior maneuverability of the Ukrainian army. In the footage, armored vehicles of the Russian army are advancing rapidly, targeting Ukrainian positions. The roar of its engine, coupled with the echo of artillery fire, makes the intensity of the battle palpable, while Russian soldiers fire relentlessly at the Ukrainian defense lines. But silence on the battlefield can sometimes herald the greatest threat. At that very moment, a deadly threat emerges from the sky: FPV drones. Gliding silently and skillfully, these unmanned aerial vehicles suddenly spring into action and lock onto their target. The shadow looming over the enemy vehicle is a clear indication of what the next moment will bring: a fatal blow. Ukrainian soldiers targeted the enemy vehicle's weakest point, the fuel tank. With sniper-like precision, the grenade was sent right on target. Everything stopped as the sound of the grenade hitting metal was heard, and then a huge explosion. As the flames rose into the sky, the pressurized fuel inside the fuel tank ignited instantly, turning the entire vehicle into a ball of fire. As the ammunition inside also began to explode, the intensity of the explosion increased, engulfing other vehicles nearby. Within seconds, the battlefield was littered with burning debris. Write this more clearly. You can support us by liking the video and subscribing to the channel in return for our efforts. An event that proved once again that it is no longer possible to escape from the eyes on the battlefield. With their sharp eyes in the sky, Ukrainian drone operators are watching the enemy every moment, following their every move. And this time the target was a hideout used by Russian soldiers as an ammunition depot. The thermal imaging cameras of the drones pointed to the house where the enemy troops were hiding. Inside were both ammunition and Russian soldiers. This is where the Ukrainian drone operator stepped in, and without wasting any time, the first strike was launched. The first FPV drone reached the target within seconds, and radar caused a huge explosion. Part of the building collapsed, panicking the soldiers inside. But that was only the beginning. The operator sent out a succession of new drones, each one finding its target with deadly precision. Footage from the front line reveals once again how fast and deadly the war is moving. A tank belonging to the Russian army was subjected to an unexpected attack as it advanced towards Ukrainian positions. Relying on its heavy armor, this massive vehicle thought it could dominate the battlefield. But war is not won by force alone, but by intelligence and tactics. If you want the conflict to stop, take a step. Like and share this video and join our call for peace. The louder our voice, the faster the world will hear it. Together we can bring the echo of peace to every corner. The Ukrainian army carried out an extraordinary operation against a secret underground tunnel used by Russian troops for weeks. The tunnel was used not only as a hiding place for the soldiers, but also as an important ammunition depot. However, Ukrainian forces targeted this critical point by evaluating intelligence information and deployed kamikaze drones specially developed for the operation. Moving silently, the drones found the entrance to the tunnel and infiltrated it, unnoticed by Russian troops. Within a few seconds, the drones were on their way to the designated spots and spotted their targets. And then, a huge explosion. First one, then one after the other. The explosions echoed through the depths of the tunnel, wreaking havoc. The silent hunters of the Ukrainian army in the sky are on the move once again. A camouflaged Russian military vehicle, on its way to a covert operation, thought it would reach its target unnoticed. But Ukraine's vigilant and experienced drone operators tracked the vehicle's every move, moment by moment. The vehicle was moving through the trees over rough terrain. From the outside, it was specially camouflaged to look like an ordinary cargo vehicle. But no amount of camouflage could escape the sharp eyes of modern FPV, first-person view drones. The Ukrainian operators waited intently at their screens, patiently waiting for the right moment to strike. The Russian soldiers didn't even realize what was happening. In a few seconds, the drone locked onto the vehicle's weak point and drove at great speed, directly hitting the target. The force of the explosion threw the vehicle into the air, scattering metal fragments in all directions. In that moment, Ukraine's innovative warfare strategies were once again demonstrated on the battlefield. Write this more clearly. You can support us by liking the video and subscribing to the channel in return for our efforts. Ukraine's FPV drones are once again operating with deadly precision on the battlefield. The 6 Russian soldiers advancing to attack Ukrainian positions thought they would reach their target unnoticed. However, the Ukrainian army's advanced surveillance systems and experienced UAV operators had already detected this movement. The enemy troops were trying to advance quietly, through bushes and using natural obstacles. They were planning to wait for night and launch a sudden attack. But for FPV drones, darkness or camouflage was not an obstacle. Ukrainian operators pinpointed the coordinates of the Russian soldiers and immediately launched an attack. The footage clearly shows soldiers of the Russian Ground Forces Command using motorcycles to move quickly across the terrain. This tactic was intended to allow the soldiers to move more quickly through narrow and rough roads, while at the same time making them smaller and more difficult targets. But the Ukrainian army acted just in time to reverse this strategy. Based on intelligence information, Ukrainian forces predetermined the route the motorcyclists would take. Special units and drones launched a flawless operation to eliminate the enemy's speed advantage. As the motorcycles sped along, the Ukrainian army's silent hunters in the sky identified targets one by one with their drones. In the first video of the day, we are here with a development that will shake the world agenda. Images from Donetsk province reveal an event that could change the dynamics of war technology. The S-400 military vehicle, which is Russia's most vaunted defense system and touted as destroying any threat in the air, was destroyed in an incredible operation organized by Ukrainian drone operators. Can you imagine? $1 million investment, a technology that Russia has been proudly displaying for years, was neutralized by a drone worth only $100. Here is a revolutionary moment in war strategies. This event, which could completely change the technological balance, is not only a scene from a war, but also shows how low-cost technology can be a major threat to systems with huge budgets. This event, which came to the agenda with the information of a highly secret operation, changed the balances on the battlefield once again. Both the ammunition depots and hideouts of Russian soldiers were destroyed in an incredible operation organized by Ukraine's master drone operators. When we look at the details of the operation, we can clearly see that this was no ordinary attack. This operation, which took place in silence, once again proved Ukraine's success in intelligence and technology. This attack, which was carried out with unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, was conducted with great care and precision. If you want the fighting to stop, take a stand. Like and share this video to join our call for peace. The louder our voices, the faster the world will hear. Together, we can spread the echo of peace to every corner. Today, we are here with another stunning news from the battlefield. A T-64BV tank of the Ukrainian Armed Forces was targeted in a remarkable operation in the Kharkov region and completely destroyed in a barbecue. This incident once again demonstrates the importance of tactical strategies in the field, as well as the technological dimension of warfare. The T-64BV is known as one of Ukraine's most critical armored units. Known for its durability and advanced defense systems, this tank was seen as an important deterrent on the battlefield. But this destruction operation in Kharkov shows that no vehicle, no matter how powerful, is completely safe from a well-planned attack. In these stunning moments recorded in the Chasiv Yar region, a Russian-made BMP military vehicle is targeted by a kamikaze drone coming from behind at jet speed and bursts into flames. This is an incredible operation that once again demonstrates the new face of war and the power of technology. The footage shows the drone moving towards its target with deadly determination. Moving at a silent but devastating speed, the kamikaze drone hits the BMP vehicle dead on, turning it into a ball of flames with a massive explosion. This is not just a moment when a military vehicle is neutralized, but a spectacle that marks a revolution. The images coming from the countryside of the Kursk region do not resemble an action movie. The huge structure, which the Russian army uses as a strategic military base and also stores its ammunition, was the target of an unexpected attack. With incredible coordination and precision, Ukrainian drone operators attacked this structure with kamikaze drones one after the other. The footage clearly shows the effective planning that went into the attack. One drone after another, each one hitting its target without missing an inch. This attack not only destroyed a building, but also dealt a heavy blow to the morale of Russian troops in the area. The destruction of such a protected structure in such a short time raises a big strategic question mark. After the attack, the building turned into a war scene. The dense smoke rising into the sky and the sound of explosions revealed the gravity of the incident. The intensity of the explosions was so great that they were felt even in the surrounding areas. According to eyewitnesses, the evacuation efforts of soldiers who panicked in the area when the attack began could not keep up with the speed of the drones. These images take your breath away. We see the incredible courage of a Ukrainian soldier underground, perhaps in a split second. A grenade. There is no room for panic or wasting time. Without a second thought, relying on the speed of his reflexes, the soldier picks up the grenade and throws it back where it came from. This is the true definition of courage and composure. Now think about it. Is it not enough just to applaud such heroism? Isn't this soldier's brave act alone a reason to like the video and subscribe to the channel? This operation organized by the Ukrainian army demonstrates once again how important it is to be careful in every moment of war. The two Russian soldiers spread out on the terrain were acting carelessly, perhaps ignoring the danger for a moment. But it cost them dearly. Ukrainian drone operators recognized the situation at that moment and took action. A kamikaze drone was sent toward the target, and what happened was a breathtaking scene. Such operations show that war is a struggle not only of physical strength, but also of strategy and technology. This move by the Ukrainian army not only dealt a heavy blow to the enemy, but also severely shook their morale, because such an effective attack also